Hey everyone, uh, thanks so much for checking in. I'm going to talk about RPL, and that is recognition of prior learning. I get so many questions from people asking me, what is RPL? What does it mean? How can it benefit me? How do I go about getting myself RPL or getting my prior learning recognized? So recognition of prior learning is something that's actually been around in South Africa for a good couple of years. And SAQA, the South African Qualifications Authority, introduced an RPL conference where they speak to some of the South African or African countries, and they have a collab. So what does it mean? In order for you to benefit from RPL, it would mean that you are probably somebody that has worked in a specific industry, doesn't matter what field, but you have worked in a specific field, in a specific job for a good number of years. You may never have formally studied for the job that you find yourself in, but you can do that job without a doubt. You may not be in a position to go and sign up for 2-3 years to go and study, but you'd like to formalize what you have learned. Recognition of prior learning is that. It recognizes whatever you've learned previously. Now, for recognition of prior learning, or I'm going to talk about RPL, so I'll use the acronym. You must first know what you want to be RPL'd against. So I'm going to use the example of working in the technical field, because that's also a big industry where I've been involved in. And I'm going to talk specifically about camera operations, because most people can relate to that. If you have worked as a camera operator for several years and never formally been trained as one, but you've learned a lot on the job by the industry's finest, and you feel that you want to take something with you, you want some form of recognition, you would first look for the document. So in other words, there needs to be either a course, a short course, a certificate program, or a qualification that talks to what your skill is. Now, in the case of camera operations, it would be a part qualification, so a short course. You would find the qualification and then identify which training providers is accredited to offer that. And then you would approach the training provider and say, I believe that I am competent in what the outcomes are on this document. I would like to be assessed against those outcomes so that I too can get a qualification or certification. Now, the difference between a qualification and certification, just to be clear, is that a qualification is when you go to college, Technikon University, you spend at least 1 year on a program, you walk away and you have a qualification in maybe financial management or business management or filmmaking. But when it comes to a part qualification, that would mean you're certified, not qualified, and you have certification in whatever that specific profession is, or that task even, to cut it even smaller. So in this case, what ICASI is offering, and that's what's so exciting, because it's not really done in our industry, in the communication and media space. ICASI is accredited for full qualification, a full qualification. From that qualification, one can choose any one of those which is currently known as a unit standard. Another word for it might be a module or a subject. So you could go and look at that full qualification, which has over 50 modules or unit standards, choose one, go to ICASI and say, I believe that I can do this. And then you would so you go through an application process, you then get booked time with an assessor. That time with an assessor is normally between 1 and 3 hours. And that is to fact find and to determine whether or not you are truly an RPL candidate. If the answer is yes, the assessor will tell you during that meeting, we can continue with this, perfect, you're the ideal RPL candidate. Of course, there would be a cost involved. RPL is not a shortcut to certification or a qualification, but what it is it's an opportunity, a pathway for you to be able to be certified. So you can't go in, give a piece of paper and say, certify me. It's going to take time. It might take a few weeks, it might take a few months, In some cases, it's taken people a few years for RPL. It depends on what you want to be RPL'd against. Cost of RPL varies significantly. It depends on the amount of work that is involved in that RPL process. Currently, we can talk about credits, and you will see a module will have a credit value. 1 credit is equal to 10 notional hours. So if there's a program and you say, oh, here's a camera operations module or unit standard, and this is worth 10 credits, that's a 100-hour program. So you need to prove to the assessor that you can do whatever that job is that it would take somebody normally, say, 100 hours to learn. So there's a lot of information. ICASI has some infographic on the website. There's a whole place where you can go and read. SACWA has a video online where they've interviewed a variety of people that have gone through an RPL process, myself included. Yeah, you can see this video and you can go and learn a little bit more. What is important is I'm giving you one component of the importance of RPL. And I'm telling you how to go about getting certified or qualified using recognition of prior learning. But that's just one of the benefits of RPL. You could, if say, and I'll say you, anybody you know, perhaps didn't have the privilege, because it is that, of finishing high school. You can go an RPL for that high school senior certificate, so your matric certificate, which is equal to an NQF level 4. You could go an RPL, meaning if you wanted to go study, you know that university or that college is going to say to you, you cannot be accepted onto the program because you don't have matric. The RPL process allows that tertiary institution to assess, in other words, evaluate, but to assess your competence to see whether you can function at the level of a matriculant and to what extent. And using that RPL is for access to further study. So that's also another way to use RPL. So costing-wise, I was talking about that a little bit earlier. The more or the higher the credits are on the program you're asking to be RPL done, the more it's going to cost. It will, without a doubt, be less than what it would cost you to study, because the process is different and you don't have to be sitting in a class. But what does happen with RPL is once you've had the interview with the assessor and they've gone through the list of the outcomes, they may, together with you, determine that there are a few smaller areas where you do need to improve on, maybe knowledge, maybe skill. And they would recommend further training, and it's called gap training. So that means that you may need to go off, put the RPL on hold, go off, be found competent in that area, come back and continue with the assessment. And the beauty, of course, is that ICASI can organize all of that as long as, of course, it's within that qualification that they're accredited for. RPL is a powerful, powerful tool. I've been through it myself, and I can tell you now, knowledge truly is power. If you want to know more about recognition of prior learning, go find the information on the website. You'll see the website link for ICASI on this video. Go and get the information. Speak to somebody at ICASI, pop them an email, phone somebody at the office. The details are all on the website. But make an effort and get yourself certified. You'd be amazed at what that does to boost one's self-esteem.